And again, when you have 15 people, and the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero, 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 close to zero.
这不是民主党的广告。
Paid for by the Lincoln Project, which is responsible for the content of this advertising.
他们攻击的目标只有一个
Trump is not well.
The Lincoln Project was formed as a political action committee in December and has since launched some of the most scathing ads against Donald Trump out there, videos that have already gotten millions of views, and the people behind it are in his own party.
2019年12月17号，4位共和党前总统选战测试联名在《纽约时报》刊出名为“我们是共和党人，我们决心击败川普”的声明，正式宣告林肯计划成立。
The Lincoln Project, launched today and formed by several of Trump's fiercest conservative critics, has already raised over $1 million in its pursuit to defeat Donald Trump.
Announced the creation of the Lincoln Project, including George Conway,
Steve Schmidt,
John Weaver,
Mike Madrid,
Jennifer Horn,
Reed Galen, Ron Steslow, Rick Wilson.
Mission is, quote,
We are Republicans and we want Trump defeated.
over these next 11 months, our efforts will be dedicated to defeating President Trump and Trumpism at the ballot box.
Mr. Trump and his enablers have abandoned conservatism and longstanding Republican principles and replaced it with Trumpism, empty faith, they call it, led by a bogus prophet.
署名的4个人，施密特是政治策略师，曾是小布希总统和已故参议员麦肯的侧室；维佛是共和党策略师，曾为老布希总统测试；威尔森是共和党媒体顾问，助共和党在2010国会其中选举大胜。挂名第1的康威是名美国律师，同时也是川普资深顾问凯利安康威的丈夫。
It's no secret that George Conway, husband of counselor to the president Kellyanne Conway, is no fan of President Trump. Conway's criticisms have ranged from subtle Twitter digs to full op-eds challenging the constitutionality of President Trump's choices. But his problems with the president stepped up a notch March 18th, when Conway questioned the president's mental health in a series of tweets. Trump fired back.
Here was his tweet this morning. George Conway, often referred to as Mr. Kellyanne Conway by those who know him, is very jealous of his wife's success and angry that I, with her help, didn't give him the job he so desperately wanted. I barely know him, but just take a look, a stone-cold loser and husband from hell.
He's a whack job, there's no question about it, but I really don't know him. I think he's doing a tremendous disservice to a wonderful wife. Kellyanne is a wonderful woman. And I call him Mr. Kellyanne.
George T. Conway III's conservative credibility in Washington is solid. In the 90s, he worked with Paula Jones in her lawsuit against President Bill Clinton. He was also a player in Clinton's impeachment case.
纽约时报说，这是一场被川普破坏的婚姻，倒不如说川普毁掉的是他们整个家庭。
Her 15-year-old daughter, Claudia, who recently made headlines by sharing her more liberal views on TikTok, at one point going as far as asking progressive Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez to adopt her.
Claudia took to social media to say she wants to emancipate herself. I'm officially pushing for emancipation, she tweeted. My mother's job ruined my life to begin with. Heartbreaking that she continues to go down that path after years of watching her children suffer. Selfish. It's all about money and fame, ladies and gentlemen. One day later, Kellyanne said she was stepping down. At the same time, her husband, George Conway, an outspoken critic of Trump, also announced he was taking a step back to devote more time to family matters.
林肯计划想让美国人知道，川普毁掉的不止康威一个家庭。
These are the memories COVID took from us. A child's birthday, time spent with friends, a first kiss. COVID has robbed America of so much. None of this had to happen. We have suffered needlessly because Trump is a fool, a liar, and a failure. Most countries stopped it. Trump refused. It's Trump's virus now, and before it's over, 1 million of us could die. What we've lost reminds us of the stakes this November. It truly is a choice, America or Trump.
选美国还是选川普的口号充斥在林肯计划的广告中。
As this is a time for choosing America or Trump?
It would be wrong for me to be silent. And so, we have differences. I'm going to spend all my time from now until Election Day trying to persuade them otherwise. He has done nothing for the Republican Party. He does not lead as a Republican. He does not lead, frankly, as an American leader. And it is okay just in this moment of time to step away from your party allegiance and say, in this moment, I have to put country above party.
她是珍妮弗·霍恩，前新罕布夏州共和党主席，也是林肯计划创办者之一。
We are using his own words and his own actions and highlighting them for the American people.
(9/11, 2001). Policemen, firemen, on duty, off duty, didn't wait for orders. They ran into the fire to save lives. On that day, Donald Trump was just a terrible person. He bragged about the fact that he now had the tallest building in New York.
40 Wall Street actually was the second tallest building in downtown Manhattan, and it was actually, before the World Trade Center, was the tallest. And then when they built the World Trade Center, it became known as the second tallest, and now it's the tallest.
Later, he lied and said he was at Ground Zero helping.
Everyone who helped clear the rubble, and I was there, and I watched, and I helped a little bit.
Today, Donald Trump is more than just a terrible person. He's the worst president in American history. He's divided the country and lied to all of us about everything. Tens of thousands of times, and now 200,000 of us are dead. A 9/11 death toll every 3 days. Because of the fool that sits behind the president's desk in the Oval Office.
在成立的声明稿中，林肯计划创建者也说明了为何是林肯计划。时间倒回1863年11月19号，盖茨堡国家公墓还是一个充满泥泞、全是新坟的地方。林肯总统站在美国内战中盖茨堡血战的战场，发表了著名的盖茨堡说
：“47 years ago,
our fathers brought forth on this continent
a new nation, conceived in liberty,
and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal.
That we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain.
That this nation, under God,
shall have a new birth of freedom.
And that government of the people,
by the people, for the people,
shall not perish from the earth.”
声明中如是说：“我们把林肯当作向导和启示，他明白不仅必须拯救联邦军，还要在精神和政治上把国家重新团结起来。但这些创伤只有在威胁被击退后才能愈合。那么，在克服川普主义的苦难之后，我们的国家还能重新团结起来吗？”